So, hello everyone. So glad you could all make it. I am Nadine Heitz. I am an immigration lawyer here in South Florida, and I run my own immigration law practice, but I'm also co-owner of Caseflow, built on Monday.com. So I'll be leading this webinar, and I would like to also introduce Misha Tehran, and she is head of product development for Workiflow. Now, let me just briefly explain the relationship between Workiflow and Caseflow. Workiflow is a company that helps people build their own systems using Monday.com as they also do other things, but that's mainly one of their specialties. And Workiflow is also my business partner and co-owner of Caseflow. And we will also hear from Kyle Homstall. Unfortunately, Kyle isn't going to appear live, but he did pre-record a video for us. Kyle is also our third business partner, co-owner of Caseflow, and he's actually on an airplane right now somewhere, so he couldn't make it. He is the operations manager and owner of Global Mobility Partners. So let's continue. So I created Caseflow years ago. It was actually back in 2020. Caseflow is a system built on the Monday.com platform, and we'll get into that a bit more. And we are going to do a demo of what it looks like. And Misha is going to talk a bit more about how it works, kind of behind the scenes, how it can work with other apps. But what is the problem that many of us as immigration lawyers are facing today? So let's start with the reality of running an immigration law practice, because that's exactly why I built Caseflow. So number one, we often find that there's too much administration work, right? Too much admin work, not enough actual lawyering. We didn't go to law school to spend our days chasing paperwork and digging through emails and updating spreadsheets. We went to law school to lawyer, right? So there's a lot that we have to do, and sometimes it's very inefficient, mentally draining, and even not only for us, but for our staff as well. We also have lots of different software systems, right? Like, you could be using literally 17 different legal software systems. It's not uncommon that many of us are using, for example, like myself, I'm using DocketWise for immigration forms, but many of you are also using other systems like maybe Clio for case management, maybe Dropbox to store your files, Calendly for appointment booking, Gmail for emails, Zoom, text apps, spreadsheets. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but we want to show you that you can bring everything in to one system and still have the features of all those other apps and still use them, but not have them be such silos that you're constantly switching tabs all the time, copying and pasting data from one to the other. And many of us are also juggling updates between hybrid teams, right? What do I mean by that? Well, many of us have in-office staff. We also have remote staff, and that can sometimes create a communication overload. So we want to make sure everyone is aligned, like who did what, what's pending, what's urgent. That can become a job in itself. You can be chasing Slack messages, texts, phone calls between your staff, sticky notes even, right? And it becomes like a daily chore just to keep up with all of that. So we need a single source of truth, and that's what Caseflow is. So what is Caseflow? I want to be clear on exactly what it is, because it's not like, you're used to, okay, many of you know what Clio is, many of you know what Practice Panther is, many of you know what some of these other systems are. Caseflow is actually something that you can think of it as a template designed for Monday.com. And Monday in itself is an operating platform or a project management system that you can design to be whatever you want it to be. So I designed a whole bunch of templates and boards and systems in Monday back in 2020, 5 years ago now. And I soon realized that other immigration lawyers wanted this system, but they didn't want to build it, right? They didn't want to create it themselves from scratch. So this is why I then partnered with Workflow and Global Mobility, and we designed Caseflow, which is the name of our system that is built on the Monday platform. So you can imagine having your CRM, your initial, intake, customer relationship management, all of your case statuses, all your client communications, all your tasks, all your deadlines, plus automations and integrations all in one place. And that's what I created. It's now my dream system. It took me like a good 5 years to come up with bouncing around from different systems. I tried them all. You name a practice management system, I probably tried it. And I've now for the last 5 years been using this, and it's just made a huge difference for me. And this is also built specifically for you, for immigration lawyers, because many of the case management systems that we are using, while they might be built for the legal industry, they might not necessarily be designed for the complexity of the case types that we have, right? Petitioners, beneficiaries, applicants, joint sponsors, all that terminology, all the different types of cases, waivers, consular processing, non-immigrant visas, perms, all of that language is in Caseflow. So it can really help you track your case from beginning to end. And it's suitable for solo immigration attorneys. I am a true solo. I'm the only attorney. I have a few assistants. So there's 5 of us all together. One of my staff members is remote. And that's a very typical system nowadays, right? One attorney, a couple of remote workers, a couple of people in office, or a remote reception service. Or you've got a larger firm. We've also adapted Caseflow for firms that have 20, 30, 40 people. So it really can transition into whatever you want it to be. You might outgrow your current system, but with Monday, we realized that Monday can grow with you, and that's how we designed Caseflow. So I am going to do a little demo of what Caseflow actually looks like, sorry. And let me just do a screen share and show you. And we will have a question and answer session at the end. So if you can either put some questions in the chat, if that option is available, or put it in the Q&A option. And then when we're done, you can just, also raise your hand and verbally ask any questions or put them in the chat. So let me go right into this demo and let's get on with this. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, I don't know how many of you have used Monday. I should have done a poll. This would have been interesting. How many people have used Monday.com, or how many people even know what Monday.com is? Feel free to put any comments in the chat if you know what it is. Let me just see if I can just pull
Actually,
it.
I see
Yeah.
some familiar names in the
Oh,
list.
okay.
I
Oh,
see
cool.
some of our current users of Caseflow have joined us as
Oh,
well.
cool. Oh, great. Okay, super. Yeah, would love to hear from them if they have any insight or questions as well. So some of you are maybe familiar with Monday, okay? Misha can also explain a little bit more about what it is, but what you're looking at now is the Caseflow system built in Monday. So when you sign up for Caseflow, you're actually signing up for Monday.com, and then we put all of these templates, all of these integrations, all of these boards. We have everything labeled for you. We put all that on your Monday system so that you can immediately start using it. And then you have the option to add on integrations, which is something Michelle will discuss. So for example, I'm not going to go through everything in detail. At the end, we're also going to have a link for you. You can actually book a one-on-one demo with myself or Michelle, and we can do a 30-minute session with you directly and show you everything in more detail and talk to you about your situation. But I just want to give you kind of an overview of what this looks like. So on the left, I'm kind of scrolling here. These are boards. You've got your sales and CRM section. You've got your case management section where you track your actual case statuses. We've separated them to employment-based versus family-based, although there will be some overlap there. We've got a really cool USCIS receipt tracking integration that comes with Caseflow. And you get a free template, meaning that you can duplicate this template and you can create your own board. And it comes with dashboards that you can also create to really customize them to show you what you want to see. So if I were to show you the contacts board, if I click on it, you're going to see here that this is what Monday looks like. It kind of looks like an Excel spreadsheet, right? If you're not familiar with it, it's got rows, it's got columns, and it's got a lot of data in it. So really, you're inputting everything only once and showing this information in other boards just in different ways. So there's no duplication of data entry. So if I look at the contacts board, this is just where we track, somebody coming into your system for the first time. Is it a brand new lead? Is it an active client? Is it a maybe an employee? Is it a candidate? This is mostly for employment-based law firms, a vendor, a future client. And once you have them in the contacts board, you're going to fill out some information for them. You're going to put in here the very first time they enter your system. Obviously, what you want at minimum is their name, phone, and email, right? That's the minimum. But optional things are, where do they hold their passport? How did they enter? I-94 date expiry. Where do they live now? How did they come in? If you click on this box, it opens up and you can change this. Maybe it was a Google lead. And you can even track cases and a lot of different things here. But the contacts board is just the beginning. So let's move to the deals board. Once they come in as a contact, you can have the option to create a deal. And a deal is just kind of CRM terminology that Monday uses. So the deals board is where you track whether you want to actually pursue this lead for a consultation, right? Not everybody coming into your system is necessarily somebody you want to target for a consultation or for a contract. So this is where you can track, did you send this person a consultation request to book with you? Or did they actually book it? Was it canceled? Did they sign up? Was the contract declined? So if you look at this, think of all of these different groups as housing all of your different opportunities or potential clients, as we sometimes call them. And if you scroll across, we track some different things here. You can assign owners. Maybe you have different, these are my team members. Maybe you have certain attorneys that are responsible for doing the consult. You can track who they belong to, right? So for example, Charles Taylor might have a spouse that is also part of his account. So you can put all the people that are related or all the derivatives into an account. And if you click on the accounts, you can see all the people who are in the Taylor family. Here's Karen, here's Charles, and there's two others, Nancy and Hannah. If I click on any of these, it opens up their info. So what we're doing is we're pulling info from the contacts board into this new deals board so that you don't have to jump around if you want to look up the other family members. You can add services. We have a very cool way to do that by selecting the services. Maybe you're doing an E2 visa. And if you add the E2 visa here, you can then also track the costs for that. You can create the actual legal fees and filing fees. We can integrate this. Misha's going to talk later about integrating this to actually create your contract. And Monday has cool features like when I open up this little icon here on the right, it's going to open up a new screen and you're going to be able to track your notes. So what you're going to see first is kind of a summary of the key metrics for this case. Monday goes across, right, in rows. And sometimes the rows are very long. Sometimes it's nice to open up this little icon and see your information kind of like in a more up and down format. And sometimes you just want key metrics shown. So here's key deal info about Joe. It tells you when you know, how long this deal has been pending. All this information could be filled in. And if you click on updates, this is where you can track notes. All case management systems have a way to track notes, right? And Monday has really some nice features. It has AI so that you can summarize all your notes. So you could tag your team member. Maybe I want to tell one of my team members, you know, please reach out, whatever. And you can kind of write notes back and forth to your team in this box. And there's lots of other cool features as well, including email tracking. You can send emails from Monday. You can have a view of all the communications to and from the person who is in your Monday system. So let me just move on to one of the case management boards. And we have decided to segregate not by case type, because that would mean, like, you know, some people have kind of tried to set up their own systems in Monday. And then when they see the way this is set up, they realize this is a very logical way to group your cases. For example, the USCIS board, which I just clicked on, will contain all case types that go through USCIS because they are similar, right? Whether you're doing a fiance visa or an I-130 or an I-129 or an I-90, whatever you're doing, they follow a similar pattern. And the pattern that I'm talking about are the stages, right? The stages here, they start off working on the case, right? Case review, they go out for client signature, mailed to USCIS, received by USCIS. One thing we're looking at updating is having another stage in here for online systems, because we are doing more online filing with USCIS, even though most is still paper-based, right? So that is something that we can just update very easily, or you can change these stages yourself. And the stages correspond to the groups, right? So all of these titles are the groups of the stages. So if you are finished working on the case and you select case review, then Sarah Brown's case is going to move to the case review section. And that indicates to you that now you see Sarah here in case review. So when you're having your meetings with your team, Monday is very visual, right? It's very colorful. It's easy on the eye. So you can review all of your cases. You can look at the USCIS board. You can instantly see where you might be falling short, what you have to get done. If you scroll across, you can see there are various things we track about each case, like the secondary applicant. So that could be the petitioner. You could have more than one secondary applicant. You can add the joint sponsor if needed. You can track it and assign it to an attorney, assign it to a paralegal. Now, the reason you want to track all these dates in Monday, so when you open up the mail and you get your client's biometrics date, you just put that date into Monday. And you can have automations. So in my system, we have automations that automatically remind the client, hey, you know, like for example, 1 week out, hey, Sarah, she'll get an email from us. You have a biometrics, just reminding you it's on July 20th. Make sure you're prepared. Same with RFE due dates. In my system, we have actually a countdown towards the RFE due date. So we have like a 1 month out, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, 1 week out, and constant notifications to my team, making sure we don't miss it if it hasn't been filed yet. Interview dates, all of those things can be tracked. And this is what you get with Caseflow. You get all of these columns in templates already created for you that we put into your Monday system. And I also want to briefly just show you that you can assign tasks. So if you look at Nancy Taylor, there's this little number 35 sub items. If I click the arrow to the left, here are all the tasks you need for getting Nancy's case going from setting up the file to the time frame of actually sending it out. You can see all the, you know, we've got things in here. Now, this is my set of tasks, right? It might not be yours. So we don't give you the tasks Although if you want my tasks, you can have them, but not everybody wants them. Usually you want to customize your own tasks because we like to send a Google request. We want to verify they got their courtesy copy. All of this is here with due dates and assigned to team members. So you can use Monday to actually pre-assign all of these tasks and just click a button, and then all of the tasks get loaded into the case. And we have another app that we developed called Templify, and you will have access to that as well. So you'll be able to create your own set of task lists. You can do them very detailed like this. This is generic, what we do for every USCIS case, but then we also have tasks specific to case types, right? For example, if you're doing a VAWA petition, an I-360, you need some other tasks. You need declarations done, and you may have to work with the client more one-on-one. So you can have a set of tasks that you can click a button and load those specific tasks. Or maybe your client moves, right? Maybe your case is in the USCIS pending group. You can see all the different stages here. I don't have all of this populated. This is just my kind of demo account. But let's say Hannah Taylor, let's say her I-45 is already pending. And she calls you tomorrow and says, oh, we just moved. We need a change of address. So you could just click the button for the change of address tasks, and those will all be loaded to her case as sub-items. So what are maybe the 5 things you do for a change of address, right? In my office, number 1, verify we have the new office. Number 2, we actually charge a service fee for that. Send them the invoice. Number 3, make sure they paid it. Number 4, do the change of address. Number 5, confirm it was done and send it to the client confirmation. So you will never forget, and your team will never forget to do these things, because Monday also has this My Work button. I'm not going to show it to you here, but if you click on My Work, you will see all of your tasks due today, tomorrow, and overdue for all of these boards. So the reason we have categorized this into a few different, and I'm going to wrap this up quick because I'm kind of taking a little long here. We've categorized this into different buckets. I'm just going to show you one other board, the court board, for those of you that are going crazy with court cases, right? Hearings, years out, and all kinds of nonsense motions you have to file. You can use the court board, and the board looks different from USCIS because there are different things we have to do when we handle court cases or BIA cases, right? So if you scroll across, you're going to see that we are tracking some different things here. We're tracking the next master calendar date, the individual hearing date, whether, what's the status of the motion that we sent, who's the judge, when is the next motion or filing due? Did it go through the BIA? So this has saved me so many times, because without this, I am just totally lost. And what are so many attorneys doing when they don't have this, right? They're doing using Excel spreadsheets. You may be one of those people that is using Excel spreadsheets, and this is a much simpler system. And then the last thing I want to mention is you can get repeat business back to you with the future case board. So don't you want your clients to come back to you for their future I-751 or their future N-400, right? Of course you do. So once their case is done and they got their green card, you bring them into this board with just one click. It brings them in here. All you need to do is identify what type of future case type they have, and you can add more of your own. And you can then put one date in, which is their final eligible date, and Monday will calculate for you the critical deadlines prior to when they are final eligible for whatever the service is. And Monday can automatically send them an email reminding them to come back to you. So this is all on autopilot. And I've been using this for several years. And I think like probably 95% of our clients do come back to us for their future cases, which is awesome. So I want to now turn this, I know this was like a really, really short demo, but like I said, you can book a one-on-one with myself or Misha, and we can go over this in more detail with you. So I would like to hand it over to Misha to just talk about a few more technicalities.
Cool. Thanks, Nadine. I think you touched on a lot of the integration side as well in the beginning, and how Monday can be your one source of truth. So we just wanted to give you guys a little overview of how can we make Monday a one source of truth. I do see a question in the chat as well that asks this question, as well as another question, but I'll just address that portion since we talk about integrations. Does Caseflow come with all these apps connected? The answer is no, it does not come immediately connected, but that's where we come in. So Caseflow is a practice management template built on monday.com. Workyflow, that's us. We are partners with monday.com, and our bread and butter, our day to day is integrating and automating our clients' monday.com accounts, supercharging it, if you will. So that's where we come in, and we can help you to connect all your apps to monday.com and use Monday as your one source of truth. So we do that by using make.com. So you can see make.com there. We are gold partners with make.com. And I've yet to find a single limitation of Monday that I can't overcome with make.com. So we use this every single day, and we build integrations, but we also build custom workflows using make.com. So you can see here that it says it has, I just moved through my notes here since we moved through this really quickly. I had some points here I wanted to talk about. Okay, yeah. So you can see that has more than 2,000 apps and 30,000 endpoints. So on the Monday marketplace, many apps, so Monday has its own marketplace, kind of like you have an app store. If you have a mobile phone, it'll have an app store. So many of the apps on the marketplace are great, but they are built by third-party developers, meaning your data is flowing through someone else's system. So that adds unnecessary risk, and that's where Make works differently. So it uses official modules. And so when you authenticate your Google or your Microsoft or your Calendly, DocuSign, whatever software you are authenticating, you're authenticating directly with the provider and not with a third party. So that gives us better security and reliability, as well as scalability, because we're working directly with those softwares. So if we go ahead on the slide. So we're going to just walk through three of the most common integrations that we see Caseflow clients requesting. It's also three integrations that Nadine uses on a daily basis. We'll walk through it really quickly. One of that is tracking meetings in monday.com. So this is where you're going to see how is it in your everyday work, in the real example, how are we making monday.com your one source of truth? So one of those examples is by tracking your meetings within Monday. So we did that by integrating Calendly. So just an example, of course, there are others like Acuity, for example. We would build out a board for you. So you'd get an additional board with the Calendly event types. You'd be able to define if a screening form is sent to your client when they book certain links. It will then import all your meetings as they are booked into the meetings board. It'll connect it to your contacts. It will send out the screening form if you've marked it as yes to send out the screening form, and will also create and connect it to a deal. So with your client booking the meeting, your client is in your system, connected to the meeting, a deal is created, and it's ready for you to start that process of building out the services so that you can create a case once they sign up. So that's one way. The next integration, sending and receiving screening questionnaires. So we kind of touched on that in the previous one. So we did this through JotForm for Nadine. And what that does is when a meeting is booked, it triggers an integration that will send out the link to the client for the intake questionnaire or screening form. And you can go ahead to the next slide. So this is integrating with JotForms. This is what Nadine's form looks like. So the client would receive a link to this form, which they would fill out prior to the meeting. And they actually also will receive reminders to fill out this form up until the meeting date. Once they submit this form, so you can see the form, we just wanted to show you kind of the conditional logic. It's really great with JotForms. Once you submit that, it's actually going to, and yes, I just saw a question about different languages. Yes, JotForms does have its own translation. So anyway, the form comes into Monday. You can see that you can now see your submission right in Monday. It's also connected to the contact that has filled out that form. So everything's ready for your consultation and to take that ahead. So the next slide, please, Kiki. Okay, and then the last one that we're going to go over is generating proposals or contracts directly from Monday.com. So I know, Nadine, this has been a huge time saver and benefit for you. You're welcome to chime in if you want to, but essentially what we've done is set up a way for Nadine to define her services as well as payment plans within Monday. You can go ahead, Kiki. So the next slide. With PandaDoc. So we've integrated, using Make.com, we've integrated PandaDoc into Monday. We've set up a service list for Nadine to define her services. It'll auto-populate. This way she can build out her contract within Monday. Select, and you can see there we're showing that it will actually define which board the case will be created in once the client signs. So there we've selected a payment plan, which contract type, one client or two, and then we can say create now to draft. And just to give you,
I must say, Misha, this is my favorite integration. If you had to say to me, what's one thing you couldn't live without? And this is like, every time I use it, I'm just, oh my God, my life is so easy.
I think the payment schedule is really great. So it builds out that payment schedule in the contract for your client to see as well. And they are able to sign it as well. So once you've checked your draft, you can then send it from Monday. So you can see how we are in Monday the whole time. We've built the contract, we've drafted it, we've sent it. We're now seeing that client signing the contract within Monday, and that has marked the case creation as case created, and the case is now automatically created as well for you. So that will automatically move into the case board, and you can now start tracking your case. So those are the three integrations that we wanted to focus on. And I just wanted to walk you through Kyle's case study. So Nadine will walk you through that actually, but Kyle's story is a perfect example of what happens when a firm embraces automation. And Nadine, you can take it away from there.
Yeah, thank you. So as I mentioned, Kyle is co-owner of Caseflow, and he started using Monday before we actually created Caseflow. He started working with WorkyFlow, Misha's company. So he really transformed how his company manages their cases. So he was actually able to triple his caseload bandwidth, and it increases revenue dramatically. He used to have a really lengthy and intricate proposal process, and that was really customized and made so much smoother. You know, he talks about the aversion to adopting new technology, which is something we all have to consider, right? We sometimes our staff or even us, we're reluctant, but it's really something that you have to just kind of say to yourself, okay, this is something I need to do, and spend a little bit of time upfront doing it. He found that now he has high level data instantly with all of his really cool dashboards, and you're going to see a video from him next. He estimates he saved 100+ hours a month by turning just one task into automations, and he has a lot that he's juggling on his plate. Like his dashboards look pretty cool. So now this is not an immigration law firm. Some of you might know Global Mobility Partners. They've been at AILA conferences. So when you hear Kyle talk about his cases, he's referring to, he is kind of like the bridge between people in other countries, immigration lawyers in other countries who are perhaps, you know, think of it this way: your H-1B client can't get an H-1B, so Kyle can find them somebody maybe in Germany to work there for a while, and then maybe they'll come back to you later. So there's a lot of back and forth going on with Kyle's business. It's really cool. So yeah, I think we can get into Kyle's video.
So I'll share a couple of the use
Yeah.
cases brought us to Monday to begin with. So there was two things that were just taking up a ton of time, and I knew that there was opportunity to reduce it. So the first one was invoicing. So we do outbound out of the US immigration. So we're dealing with US companies sending their employees abroad, either for short-term or long-term work assignments. And it's often all our bills are in foreign currencies. So, we're getting an invoice or getting government receipts in euro or Indian rubles, and we're always needing to convert it back and put it on an invoice. And it was pretty much a full-time 8-hour-a-day job for me. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I worked with Workflow, and one of the first things streamlines we made through Monday was invoicing. So that process before that I described now is as simple as a few clicks to invoice things out. So we would pick a service. I've made a couple demo items here for this, so it's a Canada intercompany transfer, applied for at the consulate. And we've pre-built out what that service is, all the costs assigned. So you can see it starting to populate in here. And it's actually pulling the government fees from Canada dollars, converting them to USD, because all of our clients, US based, want to be invoiced in US dollars. You can actually see if anyone wants to come back, the currency conversion in here, the day it happened and the amount it converted at. So it's pulling live conversion fee data. It's putting the different line items in. And before it was, we'd manually convert it, put it somewhere, open our QuickBooks, go line by line in QuickBooks. We've now got a connection in there. Now we can define who the applicant is, who the company is, the invoice contact, invoice reference number, and this is all automated right to QuickBooks. So we can say, who are we going to invoice? Are we going to do the applicant or the company? So I'll invoice the applicant directly based on the email address and the account we have set up with them. We'll find that, and I will create the invoice. It'll take a minute to do its thing. It's actually going to pull all these line items that we've pre-built out with the currency conversions right to QuickBooks. And then it'll create a link here right to that invoice. So let it do its thing, and there it is. So it's created, link to invoice. If you want to click on it and look at the invoice, so you can see all the different line items that were included in there with the pricing, and it'll actually bring over, the invoice contact, attention to that information I had in there, the reference number that the company provided us with. And then it'll also show the applicant's name, which was Kyle, or the company name was the test Kyle, and the applicant test Kyle. So automated, 2 seconds. This went from being a full-time job for me, 8 hours a day, to basically having a person now that's taking 30 minutes to an hour a day. So, that's incredible time savings. It's almost an entire person. So freeing them up to do something else. The other one was we handle in-house all of our short-term visas. So if someone needs to go to China, for example, on a Schengen C visa, a lot of times our clients, they're manufacturers and they need to send their engineer to a plant. So we've found there's initiating the case, sending them a list of documents, and then reviewing it. It just sat in our hands forever. So we wanted to reduce the touch point, amount of time that the case touched us. So I've done a demo here. I've selected a China M business visa. I can initiate the case. So I'm going to move this over to another workflow. So this is our master case board. I've got everything hidden away, but all of our open cases are always listed on here, who's assigned to it, who's working it. But from here, we kind of work these cases different than most. So we have an option to create it. It initiates in a new workplace, which has a different workflow. And over here, you can see this case is now initiated. So I was testing it before, but here's that case I brought in. So it shows the current status of the case. We're in prep mode. We need the application forms from the client. I'll get into some of these other columns, but we can see this is pulled over from that case and set up. So again, based on the service, we know we need a copy of their passport. We need their passport type photo. It creates a unique link to all the documents they need to give to us. So if they want to upload a passport, they submit it, and now that will upload into, in a few moments, it'll come right through on the passport file. There it is. So it's popped through. Changes to submitted. The team member assigned to this case has is advised that they've submitted their passport. And once all of their documents that we need from them, it'll start moving down the chain here as needed. So once the applicant has sent it out, I should add from here too, we have email templates. So we can go email, create a new email. I'm doing a China business visa. Here's all the overview. So we're not typing this out each time. It gives the unique link to the individual applicant's questionnaire, to the documents required, which was that thing I showed you, documents they need to fill out that we have, invitation letters. This is a unique China form. So they have the links to it that they can download and then they upload once it's completed. So we would send that email to them. We can track it if they've opened the email, looked at it. And as they submit things, it'll populate in here and move through. So once the team sends all that, it'll say waiting submission, and then it'll move the documents ready for review. Once we've received all the documents, the team can just review them right here. So they can look at the passport file, say yay or nay. They can reject it if there's something wrong with it. They can accept it if it's good. And they can actually send notes. So a reason for document rejection, they can type that in, and then they can send rejection email, and it'll send an email to the client and say, hey, passport's blurry, re-upload it. And this will go back to needed, and then it's open for them to upload again. So that has just seeing where it is, like we can see we have 9 cases right now waiting for submission. We got 1 where we're drafting the application, with 3 where the applicant's out for review. We're checking appointments. You can see everything where it is. So we can go in, Michelle can go look at her team members, see exactly where everyone's sitting. Everyone knows where they're at. It's just saved an incredible amount of time of sending documents back and forth, being able to see it. And we have a lot of other cool things. Like once this is accepted, you accept it, and it'll automatically create a OneDrive folder, save it in there, and the applicant has access for that. So yeah, it's genuinely allowed us to handle 3 times the number of short-term visas as we did before. It's such a messy process. And then, team leaders trying to figure out where cases are. It's literally you come on here and look at it and see exactly where everything's at. So that's our points to share.
That's awesome. I just want to explain just a couple of things before we kind of wrap up and do our Q&A. So, when you sign up for Caseflow, there are some features that Kyle showed you that you will get that are kind of come with Monday. Monday.com has a lot of cool features. And you actually get the CRM version of Monday, which has some great features. You get the enterprise version of Monday, which has some really good storage ability. So for example, when Kyle showed you how to send the email and use the email template, that is something that comes with your Caseflow system because it is built into Monday, right? That's a part of the Monday CRM system that Monday has designed. And it's an awesome feature. We use it all the time for email templates, right? Like, what are you telling your client the same thing over and over again, right? You can share templates with your team. You can create the template once in the beginning, share it with your team, and then everybody can use the templates. He showed you a very cool invoice feature. Now we have, as Misha talked about, we have an add-on, an integration, right? So these add-ons and integrations don't come necessarily with Caseflow. Some of them do, but some of them don't. And the reason for that is everybody's different, right? Every immigration lawyer is different how they want to send out their contracts. I've worked with immigration lawyers that have their own system for that, and they're perfectly fine with it. Others don't. So Kyle created his own invoicing system that can be sent out through Monday. And we created our own too, that is created for me, that many of our Caseflow users use through PandaDoc and through Stripe integration. So we can design that for you as an add-on to Caseflow. And the document upload feature is really cool. Now, I don't use that in Monday because as many of you know, I've been using a system called Pipefile for many, many years, which I love. And I have all my templates in there. But if you want to use a different system, whether it's Pipefile or something else, we can often integrate some of that with Monday. So for example, Monday can trigger your client's info to go into Pipefile, right? Or for example, USCIS forms. Caseflow and Monday are not going to create all your USCIS forms. So I still use DocketWise, but I don't use DocketWise for case tracking or any of that. I just use the lower plan so that I just use it for forms. I like DocketWise. I like how it works. And you can have an integration with Monday and DocketWise so that you don't have to retype the client's basic info from Monday into DocketWise, right? So that is how we work with other apps. Like Misha showed you the Calendly integration, which is another, probably my second most favorite integration that I also don't want to live without, because all I have to do is send the client my link to book a consultation. They book, they pay, they set it up, bang, they're in my Monday Caseflow system. Like I just walk into work and wow, I have all these consultations booked. And I didn't have to manually enter any of it. My staff didn't have to manually enter any of it, right? The client gets reminded and it works really, really well. So I'd love to take any of your questions. If anyone has any, feel free to
Yeah,
just raise your hand.
we have a few in the chat. I don't think
Okay.
live.
I'm not seeing the chat. Let me see if I can see.
So
I don't, for some reason, I'm not
most
seeing
of
them.
them.
You
Oh,
can
okay, no
field
problem.
them.
Yeah, I'll read them out. Most of them are integration related, which is very cool. I'm glad everyone's excited about integrations, and thinking about how you can use Monday, as that one source of truth that we discussed. So, I have a question from Karen. She says, realistically, how long does it take to get fully set up? Actually, she started the question saying question of the day. I think that's a very good question. Something that is very important when we're talking about such a complex system, with all these integrations. So I would say there's two parts to that answer. One is Caseflow itself. If you sign up for Caseflow, it's a very quick setup. We set that up within about 3 days, and then we send you a link to book training with us, and then we train you and your whole law firm in a 1.5 hour live training session. And we also provide you with a written manual. So to set up Caseflow, it's really quick. You could be in Monday using Caseflow in the next week. But when we talk about integrations, that is a longer process. That's a lot more involved. That would require us to do a consultation. Lainey also asked similar questions, so I'll answer hers and the second part of that as well. So who normally works with you to customize the system for your particular law firm? I'm the managing partner, but I'm not great at technology, and we are all too busy to do it. So again, very common scenario. We all just too busy to build our dream system. I don't know how Nadine does it. I joke with Nadine that she has a clone somewhere, because I don't know how you manage your practice and were able to build this wonderful system. But for those
It
of us
was
who are not,
COVID. It was COVID. That's why. Remember, it was March 2020 when I discovered Monday, so I had time.
okay, well then that explains it. But for those of us who don't have COVID or are not superhuman like Nadine, we are happy to work with anyone in your law firm. But the way that process works, so in terms of setting up integrations, you would meet with myself first, and I would just scope that out for you, understand what integrations you're looking at, understand the pain points or the reasons why you want to integrate those with Monday.com, because sometimes I will hear I want to integrate HubSpot with Monday, for example, and I will say, why would we integrate HubSpot when we can do everything that's happening in HubSpot in Monday instead, just as an example, or Zoho or Clio or whatever it might be. So there's also that consultation that happens where I might recommend a way for us to do that in Monday, and we can avoid an integration altogether. But if it is something that requires an integration, like the examples that we showed you, those integrations are billed on an hourly basis for development, and that's something that we would scope out with you during a call. And we can do the first call with yourself as the attorney, and then you're welcome to give us a different point of contact to get into the nitty-gritty of exactly how you want to manage that on a daily basis. And then Karen asked, is QuickBooks able to integrate? Yes, QuickBooks is able to integrate with Monday.com. And there are many ways to integrate QuickBooks. So again, it's on a case-to-case basis. So it's very custom. It's a very custom process. It does take some time, but if I had to give an exact example or estimate, let's say the PandaDoc integration for contract building in Monday, that could take 2 weeks to set up, with maybe 3 meetings between myself and someone from your side. And then we would require some build out time on the back end and some testing, some back and forth with you about your terminology and your specific use case. So yes, integrations take time, but it's not something you need to do from day one. So that's I think the overarching kind of concept here is Caseflow is ready to use, turnkey, out of the box. You can start using Monday, and then you can engage us in these conversations, and we can help you and really dig deeper into what you need and slowly build out your system. Like Nadine said, she spent 5 years getting to this point with her system where she's really happy with it. And I have other clients as well who've been working with us for 3 years now, who are still improving their system. So it's not something that you need to do on day one. Jennifer has said, what version of Caseflow did Nadine show us? Okay, Jennifer, you are asking about tiers. You're saying basic, standard, pro, enterprise. Caseflow is a template that is provided with Monday.com CRM Enterprise. So the tiers are Monday's tiers and not Caseflow's tiers. Caseflow is only provided with Enterprise, with Monday Enterprise. Okay, then we have Anonymous who said, what about migrating? Or do you just slowly abandon old systems? I'll let Nadine take that one. We do help with migration, but I'll let Nadine take that.
I would love to. I have to take my earbuds off. Hopefully you can hear me okay still. So I always recommend there's a couple of different ways to migrate your data over, and we can also assist you with that. So one way to do it is, like you said, slowly abandon your old systems, right? I think that's kind of what I did initially. The whole first year that I started using Monday, I kept one. I was using Practice Panther at the time. I had switched from Clio to Practice Panther, then to Monday, and even before that, I had all kinds of other systems. And I kept the old system going, and I started off using my new system only for new cases. But I wasn't at the stage where I had, like, now we have Caseflow ready, turnkey, ready to use. Like Misha said, in 3 to 4 days, you can be up and running. So what I would recommend is, I think almost all of our Caseflow clients do use our services to help them migrate their data, right, Misha? Sometimes it only takes a few hours of our time. You give us a spreadsheet from your existing system of what your case data looks like. We then recommend to you maybe, add some columns here, do this, tell us this and that. And then we can populate all your boards much faster than you could. Or if you're not that big of a firm, you may want to just bring them in yourself and have one of your own admin people do it. So there's kind of different ways to do it. And before I, give it back to Misha or answer any other questions, I want to be totally transparent about the costs, okay? I personally have done many demos with case management systems, and I personally don't like it when I don't know what the cost is going to be, right? So I'm going to tell you now what this costs, because I want you to see how affordable this is. I wouldn't be using a system myself that is not affordable, because I am a true solo, right? I'm the only attorney. I'm just a team of 5. I don't want to have a humongous overload. And right now, you would, if you wanted Caseflow, it would cost you $65 a month per user, starting with a minimum 5-user plan. So 5 times 65, so that's like $325 a month, right? 5 times 65, right? $325 a month. That is all. You don't pay us, my company, Caseflow. You don't pay us anything to set up Caseflow. And again, I'll be transparent that we are a Monday partner, and we get a small commission from your sign up. So we make money that way, right? So we are compensated for our time to put all of this on your Monday account. And then you pay Monday for your system. Like Misha said, you're getting CRM Enterprise, which is an awesome platform. Enterprise comes with way more than some of the other, what is it? Basic, Pro, Enterprise, right? Enterprise is the top. You can't even get Enterprise less than 20 users, right, Misha? I think 20 users normally.
Sometimes 10, but yeah, 20 is where Monday prefers to keep it.
negotiated for us to offer this to a minimum of 5-user plan. Now, you can then hire, as Michelle said, you can hire our services. You're hiring Workiflow, my partner company, to do all the awesome integrations or to help you with migrating data. And they charge $200 per hour, which is really, truly a good rate nowadays. You're going to find their regular rate is, well, what's your regular rate now, Michelle?
It's at 300. So 200 is for Caseflow exclusively.
Okay, right. So you're getting top Monday experts who will do a 1-hour webinar with you on, not webinar, Zoom with you, and go over all your dreams. Like, what's your dream system? And then say to you, okay, you want the PandaDoc integration here. It's going to take X hours. Would you like to proceed? We will quote you in advance of how much hours an integration will take. And we feel that's a very fair way to work. It's a very affordable way to work. You don't have to have any integrations. You can use Caseflow right away with all the awesome features with Monday that it comes with. But if you want more, you can have that, and you can take as long or as fast as you want to have the system of your dreams. So I just want to be fully transparent on that. I don't think there's any more Q&As. Is there anything else, Michelle, that you think we should cover or that you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered everything. We right on the, oh, we have a question that just popped up. Okay. We have to purchase the integrations separately, meaning we would have to contact with PandaDocs and then pay to integrate. Okay. Yes. It depends on the software that you would be integrating. With PandaDoc, for example, we have found a workaround where you can get away with a sandbox account, which means it's a free account with PandaDoc, and then we integrate it with Monday. So it really depends on the software, but using integrations and interacting with the software through Monday rather than through the software itself means you can have less users. You can pay for less seats on those softwares. And oftentimes we can actually get away with a free plan on those softwares because we're not interacting with them directly. We're using their API. So it really depends. It's a case to case.
Right.
situation.
So with like I said, like Misha said, PandaDoc, I'm using a free sandbox account with PandaDoc for my integration. Calendly I pay for, but I would pay for Calendly anyways. Like, I can't live without Calendly. I love it so much. It's very affordable. JotForm is also a free account, right, Misha? We are using the free version of JotForm because we're not using JotForm on its own. We're using kind of like the back end of JotForm to give us the integration with Monday. QuickBooks, you may be using QuickBooks already and paying for it already. That's your invoicing, right? So of course you are paying for that, and then you can have the benefit of having it integrated in Monday. That's why Caseflow doesn't come with all the integrations possible. Everybody's different. And honestly, Caseflow is not for everyone, right? I've met with lawyers that say, you know what, I don't want that. I don't want to do it that way. Fine. But if you want the system of your dreams, you can have that. And somebody just asked the basic set 65 times 5. Yes, correct. $3,900 a year. Yes, Jennifer, that is it. You pay that directly to Monday. Okay. They do require the full year up front, but they have a 30-day money back guarantee. If you really hate it, you'll get your money back. Yeah, that is the cost, $3,900 a year. Now, as of the recording, as of today, maybe a year from now, 6 months from now, it might be a little higher. What doc management system do you use? I personally use Pipefile to have my clients upload all of their documents. And then I use Box for storing the documents. And you can integrate Box with Monday or Pipefile. I mean, you know, Box is kind of like Google Drive or OneDrive. I hope that answers your question there. We are out of time, but I'm happy to continue if there's any other questions. Like we said, we will give you the link to, we can put that in the chat. If you want to book a demo one-on-one with us, you can do that. We will also send you an email so that you have that directly to your email and book the demo. We've been at the AILA conference this June. We should be there again next June. I see that Kiki, Kiki is the marketing director for Workiflow. She has posted the Calendly link. You can copy and paste that right now into your browser or wait for the email from us, and we will be happy to meet with you one-on-one. We're good.
think everyone's jumping off. We're at the end. So thank you, everyone. It was great to have everyone here. And I was really happy to see some of the familiar names of our Caseflow users on as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Take care.
Bye.